This article from Ars Technica is talking about Google finally unifying their messaging apps. Maybe, possibly, probably. Don't hold your breath is the best way I can put it. The one thing that I have had an issue with from Google for a long, long time now is the fact that they have been dropping the ball when it comes to a lot of their, you know, uh, different software apps. Um, Back in the day when Google Hangouts came out, I loved it. I use Google Hangouts all the time. I even integrated it with Google Voice so that I could use it as an SMS texter, right? So I would have Google Hangouts to talk to people who used Hangouts, but also talk to people who used SMS. And then all of a sudden, Google decided that it would stop supporting Hangouts altogether. And they haven't supported it for over half a year. And I think we were kind of joking about it not too long ago because they put an update for Hangouts like a month ago. And that update was just to remove something from Google Hangouts. And ever since then, I've moved away from Google Hangouts. And the only thing I've been using then was, or the only thing I've been using now is Telegram over Hangouts. Telegram has been one of the best messaging apps I've used in a long time. It does so much. It works so well. And I've been pretty happy with it. And then all of a sudden now there's this report that one person is going to control it all finally, which is something I've been talking about. There are too many hands in the cookie jar here. And maybe this is the first time we might actually see Google get something right, but don't hold your breath because I just don't believe it right now. I really don't. So Unity is coming to Google's messaging strategy again. A report from The Verge details a shakeup in Google's messaging leadership that will see Javier Saltero, the VP and GM of G Suite, take charge of all of Google's messaging apps in a single unified team. Google Hangouts used to have everything: text, voice, video. It was a good platform that they could have just improved upon. And then Allo came out, and then Allo had new features on it. And I'm like, God, these features on Allo would be nice on Google Hangouts, but that never happened. And then where's Allo now? Nowhere. It's defunct. Like all Google messaging products and initiatives, an all-powerful head of messaging is a reboot of something. Yes, a reboot of something Google has done before. Around 2016, Google messaging was unified under Nick Fox, who for a time was VP of Communications Products, which covered Hangouts, Project Fi, and Google's web RTC efforts. The big move to happen under Fox's watch was the launch of Google Allo, which didn't unify anything and just added yet another messenger to Google's lineup. The one thing that bothered me about Allo is that it was stuck to one phone number. So I couldn't even, if I wanted to, like, I review phones. So I was at that time, I was switching from phone to phone. And then if I had multiple phone numbers, then I couldn't use Allo on a different one. It's just, I don't know. It really rubs me the wrong way. It does. And that's why I've stuck with Telegram. And I know people could be watching this, or if I cut a clip of this and they'll just be like, well, then just stick with Telegram. What are you bitching about? The fact that Google had something and I didn't have to switch in the first place. If Google just got their shit together right the first time, then this wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, I could just leave it alone and just say, fuck Google, just stick with Telegram. But I've wanted Google to get something right. Like, please get it right. God, you can't even get the pixel right. We're not getting much concrete information from this announcement. This doesn't give me any confidence in what's happening. We're not getting much concrete information from this announcement about what the future of Google messaging holds. I actually want to read what these comments say. Took them long enough. At this point, Google can unify their messaging line in the same way Medusa can braid her hair. Might do, but it's going to take some real concentration, focus, and an unholy ability to wrangle some snakes. Considering all the flailing they've done in this space, even if they do create another unified communications app, will anyone trust them enough to use it? That is the thing. Will anyone trust them enough to use it? If Google put out a new app tomorrow and said, guys, we fixed Google Hangouts. There's no more Google Duo. There's no more Google Meet, Google Chat. This is just now whatever they want to call it, and it does everything. It's Slack and Discord and Telegram and WhatsApp, and it's all combined in one. It's Zoom. It's all of that all together, one app. It does everything. I would caution people to use it. I wouldn't recommend it right away. They would have to prove to me that they actually mean what they say. They're not solidifying any trust in the consumer. That's why, like, I'm very skeptical even when this new Pixel 5 that's supposed to come out. Like, I don't hold the same kind of optimism that I originally had every time a new Nexus phone came out, because I just don't know what to expect anymore. I paid $800 for a Pixel 4 that should have cost $500 max. That's the truth. People can argue with me like they did the first day when I said it was overpriced, but I stand by that statement. And I think now, months later, people agree with that statement, or their bottom line is the dollar. And I don't know. I look out for myself, but I look out for other people too. And I want people to spend their money correctly and not get bamboozled by like these companies. That's why when I bitch about Verizon making specialty phones, exclusive phones where they get to put like 8 Verizon logos on their phone and then charge $100 more so you can get millimeter wave that only works if you're standing right in front of it, like there has to be somebody out here who's championing the tech community, because this is the shit that, like, it really gets under my skin. Will says, Jerome, you paid $800, so what you have to do is not buy the next Pixel. Here's the problem, Will. I can say I'm not going to buy the next Pixel, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm probably going to buy the Pixel 5. I'm probably going to save my money. Whatever happens to me the months down this road, whether or not I end up getting a full-time job, or somehow this works out and I can do this full-time or whatever, but the way things are going right now, this isn't enough money to do as a full-time job. But yeah, I don't know, we'll see. The only thing that's going to stop me from not buying a Pixel 5 is whether or not I'm going to have the money for it. Use a Pixel 4 for the 3 years so you get your money out of it. I mean, that's really the smart thing to do. And I mean, I'll try to abide by that, but who knows, man. You are right though. That's the more logical approach to it. So 5 things we want from the Google Pixel 5. Google doesn't make phones like any other Android OEM, and the Pixel 5 is threatening to be the most unique and potentially divisive handset from the search giant to date. This is a really big statement that says really bold things, and I disagree. Most unique, I don't know. Potentially divisive, I don't know. Maybe more boring, maybe overpriced. Yeah, I have a really pessimistic view, but if you just came in and you didn't see me talk about Google's unification of messaging apps, then you missed out on me bitching about the Pixel. We're still some ways out from the expected Pixel 5 release, which will likely slot into the calendar in the series' usual October launch window. However, there are already rumors circulating that the Pixel 5 may not be the flagship phone you might be expecting to see. After the mixed bag that was the Google Pixel 4, there are plenty of areas the Pixel 5 could improve on the Pixel formula. With this and those fascinating rumors in mind, here are 5 things we want to see from the Google Pixel 5. 1, an ultra wide angle camera. Yes, I agree. But there's something I'd like more than an ultra wide angle camera. I'm willing to bet an ultra wide angle camera is on every Pixel fan's wish list for the 5th generation phone. Google's decision to stick with a dual lens camera on the Pixel 4 when essentially every other OEM, even Apple, had shifted to a triple lens shooter was a massive head scratcher. After all, zoom is great, but when you're buying a flagship phone, you shouldn't have to choose in the first place. While we're talking cameras, can we also extend that zoom beyond just 2 times optical? Super res zoom is impressive, but if the Pixel 5 is going to compete with the best, we'd like to see the optical zoom stretch to at least 3 times. That's a fair enough point, right? I get that. So yes, there's a lot of people that want to see an ultra wide angle camera, and so do I. I do too. But what I want more than an ultra wide camera is for the Google Pixel 5 to kill it with its main shooter. Fix night mode, fix night sight. Because right now, night sight is a bit too much. It for a lot of the night sight pictures, they kind of oversaturate the colors. Sometimes they make the shots look more bright than they need to be, so it doesn't look as much of a night shot as it should. Um, there are still issues with white balance on it, and if you're watching this and you're just like, well, that doesn't make sense. The Pixel 4 is amazing. Watch my Pixel 4 versus iPhone 11 Pro videos where I do photo comparisons at night. And you'll see that there is a difference there. So before I get any of this other extra bullshit, ultra wide, telephoto, whatever, fix the main shooter, fix the main shooter, fix the main shooter, fix the main shooter. Get that part right. It needs to be better than the iPhone 11 Pro. I don't want to go another year again saying that the iPhone 12 is better camera wise than the Pixel 5. I don't want to say that this year. I want the Pixel 5 to outperform the iPhone 12 Pro this year. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what Google's doing anymore. I really don't, but I want them to, what I've said before, quality over quantity. I don't need 8 different camera lenses if they're all going to be shitty. I don't. I want one, give me one good ass camera and I'll take that over an ultra wide camera shooter. I'll take that over a telephoto. Give me one good main shooter that will outperform every other camera phone that's out there. Simple as that. You guys can disagree. That's fine. But that's, I mean, why? Yeah, I don't have to expound on that. I feel like that statement speaks for itself. Okay. The next thing, 128 gigs of storage as standard. Yes. Yes. I completely agree with this. 100%, 110%. No more 64 gigs of storage minimum. It should be 128. The fact the fact that Google has the balls to charge $100 more for 128 gigs of storage is a shame. Like that is a big shame. $50 should be the max of a price change on that. Um, the fact that when the Pixel 4 came out at $800 for 64 gigs of internal storage, and then and then $900 for 128, like get the fuck out of here. $100 difference, like that's bullshit. That's not acceptable. It isn't. And they still haven't changed it. So right now you can get a Pixel 4 for $500, which is what the price should have been in the first place, but the 128 gig version is $600 still. Like why? The just I feel like I bitch about the same stuff, but I can't get over it. Google needs to get their shit straight. At the last count, Google managed to snag the dubious honor of being the worst OEM. I love that. When it comes to price gouging over smartphone storage. While we'd also like to see the price difference between configurations reduced from the current $100 hike, the core issue is that 64 gig base model. Just get rid of it. 128 gigs is the standard storage capacity for basically every Android flagship, and the Pixel 5 should be no different. 64 isn't enough. 256 gigs is potentially overkill if you use cloud storage. 128 gig is just right. Totally agree. 100% agree. I mean, even Apple isn't doing that right now with their iPhone SE. Their iPhone SE with 64 gigs of storage is $399. 128 gigs of storage is $449. $50 difference. Its camera is great, but it's still not better than the iPhone 11 Pro. It lost that crown in 2019, and it needs to take that crown back. You want me to recommend the Pixel to people? Then it has to have the better camera. The Snapdragon 765G is already a more than capable chipset than that near enough matches the Snap 855 already found in the Pixel 4, albeit with an inferior GPU. So it's still, if it's if it's more than capable, if it's close to an 855 but it has an inferior GPU, why give us that? because it has 5G. Fuck you. I don't need 5G. None of us need 5G yet. You know, give us the 855 that probably comes at a discount that could price the Pixel 5 at probably an even cheaper price. Why? Why not just do that instead? By improving the Pixel neural core, Google could close the gap with Qualcomm's best in terms of AI performance while also still being cheaper to build and more power efficient overall. If a more affordable Pixel 5 can close the AI gap while also delivering killer battery life and a bunch of exciting, unique software features, would you really care if it wasn't winning any benchmark races? I mean, that's a good point. I don't care about benchmark races. I don't game on my phone. I'm not using this phone to like, you know, hook up a controller, play, whatever FPS is going on because I have a goddamn PC for that. I'm not editing video on it because I have a goddamn PC for that. I use my phone to take pictures, to surf the web, to lay in bed and watch YouTube videos and, the basics. So I don't need something that's going to like fly off the shelves in terms of benchmarks, but it still has to give me a clean experience with no lag. If a 765 can do that, that's fine. Just don't get the 765 so that you can charge us more because it has 5G. That's what's going to really like get me to just go off on Google again. This is probably why Google stopped giving me free Pixels. Because even when they gave me the Pixel 3, I just bitched about it.